Good evening, this is Thursday and this is Sam, and I'm here in Little Navmap, and we're going to do a short little trip in Microsoft Flight Simulator from Corvallis over to Newport in Oregon. So first in Little Navmap I'm going to create my flight plan just to show you in there, and then we will create a flight plan in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So let's zoom in here to Corvallis, which is KCVO. Right click and then set Airport Corvallis Muni KCVO's departure. And then we're going to go over here and we have KONP, which is Newport State, I believe. Newport Muni. Right click that and click set Airport Newport Muni KONP as destination. So we're showing a flight time of approximately 18 minutes, 33 nautical miles. Let's scroll down here and check our flight plan elevations. We have the coastal range right here, probably, or yeah, part of it, I would assume. So right now we're at a cruising altitude of 3,500 feet. The legal altitude is 3,000 feet, so I could actually just take it down to 3,000 feet. But if we're lower, we're getting a little close to those mountains there. So we'll set to 3,000 feet roughly. And I may just adjust lower while I'm flying. So now we will switch back over to Microsoft Flight Simulator. And let's put this in. Got a world map. I'm going to go KCVO. Let's see what we have in the way of airports. Runways. We're going to, we'll go going out to the south. And then we're going to do KONP, Newport Muni, for our destination. And again, let's come in from the north. We're in a Cessna 172 Skyhawk G1000. Check our flight conditions. I will set live weather and time. However, since it is evening, I may change the time here once we actually get into it and I decide whether or not we're going to fly with that or not. I might also have changed the weather because it looked like, at least when I was testing up in Astoria earlier up on the coast, there was a cloud layer which was quite low. So let's see what we got here. So the new Ryzen Zen 3 processors were announced today. I've been waiting with my i5, my Kaby Lake i5 to upgrade to a new Zen 3 processor, but now I gotta decide whether I want to upgrade to a Zen 3 or whether if I'd rather just use my money on one of these Zen 2 Plus processors, the 3000 series. I don't know. I gotta decide if it's more important to have 8 cores or if I'd rather just do 6 cores, because the prices are a little more expensive than I was anticipating. But it's exciting times to actually have some competition in the CPU market. Oh yeah, that's dark. Because I mean, I want to actually see stuff while we're flying here. So we are going to go to the weather panel and we are going to change this. Let's go with something more like that. Do I like this cloud layer? Yeah, we'll go with it for now. Let's see what we got here out that way. What clouds are there? I may change this once we actually get into flight. We shall see. Let's take off our parking. Let's actually, we got to set our taxi light here. So we'll set that on the panel, which will change it down here. So the taxi lights are on. We'll take off the parking brake. And we are going to increase throttle to full. So we've got just a very cloudy day here at Corvallis. And rotate. Rotate. Actually get off the runway. That's where it's like you're trying to rotate gently, and if anything, maybe it's a little too gentle, and it's like you're still kind of scraping the runway. So now let's switch out to our exterior view here and see what we got. Tune Eugene approach and request flight following.
Eugene approach Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha is type Cessna Skyhawk 20 miles southwest of Kilo.
So we're heading that way.
Request flight following.
So I'm now going to start turning here to exit. And we shall see. Acknowledge our squawk code.
Squawk 02 to ONE Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha.
And I've got a little nav map here so I can see. So 29901. And acknowledge radar contact.
Copy Cessna
And
Golf
let's reset our
Sierra
camera
Alpha.
view. It's nice that there's a button on the honeycomb yoke for that. So we start to turn here a bit to actually get into the direction we're going. Okay. So essentially, we've got Corvallis, which is right off of I-5, and Corvallis is a college town. And in between Corvallis and the coast, which is where Newport is we've got the coastal range, which is a smaller set of mountains. And so in Oregon you have the coastal range, and you have the, which run basically between I-5 and the coast, and you have the Cascade Range, which is like Mount Hood. I think Mount St. Helens would probably be considered part of that. What are the mountains south here? So maybe Sisters, I can't remember. Okay, so we got through those clouds there. And there's some clouds up ahead, but I'm not sure if we're going to get above them or not, honestly. So we're going to see. But if you look at my GPS map here, I'm still like too far south. So we're going to pull up north here to intercept our GPS track. And I also have the little nav map which showed my position compared to my track as well, so it's not like we're going to get lost. It might just take us longer than you'd like. Okay. So overall, not a VFR day, probably, unless I just avoided the clouds better. But we're going to get through this. So another development update was released by Asobo today, and it sounds like there's going to be a patch coming out on the 13th, I think they said. And it's... I wish they were releasing patches sooner, honestly. I mean, especially because it sounds like this patch includes like the press any key to start. It removes that, and it's kind of like, it feels like that's something that they could have pushed out as a hot patch sooner. Like there's certain issues, like with the VFR map crashing. It's like, does that really do you really want that to wait however many weeks until an actual patch comes out? It seems like you'd want to push out patches sooner. But Microsoft has been doing this lately, it seems, as well. Like when they break something in a monthly patch update, like if there was like a feature update that broke printing for people, and then it's not fixed for like a couple months, at least in one of the, like maybe there's a patch that's deployed that you can manually install, but it's not part of one of the major updates, which is just very odd to me. They've been doing that with some various things here. And we just have lots of clouds, don't see the ground. This is good, this is very good, this is not a problem, this is fine. Oh, there is blue sky. Blue sky still does exist. I will refrain from singing blue skies. Oh yeah. Yeah. Very nice. would be nice if you could, like, if we didn't have all these cloud layers, so you could actually see the mountains as they're flying over them. Ah, there we go. So what's our altitude right now? Oh, almost 4,000 feet. Okay, we probably don't want to, like, climb too much more here, so let's... I'm going to let off the yoke here. I'm going to adjust my pitch trim, my nose trim, and adjust that to 0 because it's set by default, it seems like, to 5% for takeoff. So I'm going to adjust it to 0. I'm going to let the plane settle, and I'm also going to start pulling back on the throttle. Because what I want to do is I want to let... Essentially, we use throttle as the way to control our altitude, which seems kind of odd. Because, like, it's not really... I mean, nose pitch isn't the thing... Isn't, like, at least the major thing that adjusts altitude. It's like, you want to use throttle. When you have throttle... If you put throttle full, you climb. If you pull back on throttle, you'll start to descend. Unless you can get your... So you want to try and pull back just enough on throttle so that you are maintaining a steady, you're maintaining level flight. Pitch, basically then, if your nose pitch basically then just changes the angle of attack. The air is going on your wings. And if your angle of attack, if your nose is too high, that creates, your angle of attack is too high, and then what that creates is like a stall condition. If your angle is like, basically, if you pitch your nose down, you would just basically pick up speed. It's kind of one of those things you have to, like, play around with. It's kind of like Kerbal Space Program, in the sense of that it gives you a... Knowledge handoff.
125.8 Cessna Golf Sierra Alpha.
Tune Seattle Center, contact Seattle Center.
Seattle Center Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha 3,500 feet. Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Alpha Seattle Center. Continuous plan.
2991. That's right. Still. So they say that, like, with Kerbal Space Program, I've played it a little bit, I haven't played it a lot, but they say that that's like a good way to give you a very intuitive grasp of orbital mechanics, just because, like, when you're playing around with it, it's kind of like, it's like a sandbox, but it's just for rockets rather than airplanes. I mean, Flight Simulator is like that, but just for airplanes. And when you do something enough, it gives you, like, a very intuitive grasp of it. And that looks like there are mountains over there, so I'm going to get out of the way of those mountains, because I don't know that I'm high enough. I'm a little concerned that the clouds are obstructing my view, and if I run into the mountains, that's going to make this a very short trip. So yeah, we're just basically, we just gotta adjust. Oh, see, like, there's mountains, like, right there. If I just switch over the view here. That is a mountain top right there. So yes, again, we are essentially just, we want to adjust our throttle so that our vertical speed indicator will basically even out right about 0. Now I want to kind of adjust, pull back to our path here. So looking at a little nav map, and I'll just switch over to the, I'll just pause and switch over to the view here. So in the little nav map, they have these TOC and TOD indicators, basically indicating the top of climb and or time of climb, probably, or yeah, that's probably top of climb. And I'm assuming that's, like, not top of descent. So I'm gonna just, it's where you start descending. So this is where you are now at the maximum, where you're at your cruising altitude, and then you are going to then descend. So right now I planned at 3,000 feet. I'm actually about 3,500 feet, so I could pull down, probably because I was coming off a little bit differently here. So essentially I was running over a part of the mountains that I wasn't going to run into if I had actually, like, you know, been right on the flight path. But essentially this is where I'd actually want to, in theory, land at 3,000 feet right here, right now. It's actually because I'm right about top of climb. I would then continue along all hunky-dory, and then at this time of descent, I would then just start slowly, gradually descending until I reach 149 feet, which is KONP. We can start to pull back on the throttle at TOD. I might have to adjust anyway, just in case I'm like my descent is I'm not at the right descent path or the right glide slope. But let's see what happens. So I'm right now just about there. So let's switch back to the game. I'm going to ease off on the throttle a bit more because I want to get down to that 3,000 feet cruising altitude. I don't want to be too much higher if I can avoid it, although I do like being above these clouds, so I will actually increase the throttle a little bit more here. I was thinking that I wanted to be lower because I wanted to make it... I didn't want to be too high in the sense of that it just makes more altitude I have to get rid of coming into KONP. On the other hand, I don't want to do the rest of this video flying through clouds. So it's like, as I'm talking out loud here, I think that I do actually want to just stay roughly about 3,500 feet, depending on whatever puts me above clouds here. Now that said, you look out here over, that should be the Pacific Ocean. That's not me. I am not Alaska Airlines. Oh. Yeah, I liked... Yeah. I like the Impressionists and like Claude Monet, his paintings and stuff, just for the colors with light. And I like this as well, just seeing how the light is coming off here, off the clouds and everything with the sunset. Even just kick it up a little more. Oh yeah. Yeah. Ain't that pretty? Oh, we don't do that. It is kind of funny that it's like, here. I mean, I talked a bit about this in the last video. It's like, we are going to model a co-pilot in the cockpit. But then when you actually switch into cockpit view, it's like, where's my co-pilot? I have no co-pilot! Where'd he go? Yeah. Okay, so now I'm intercepting the path here and I gotta straighten out again. What is nice about little nav map here is that it does, if I switch over here, there's this little line indicating your... So you can, yes, the plane is turning to see, so you can see which way it's going, but if that doesn't help, you also have this nice little straight line, because for some people it might be a little hard to visualize coming out of the nose which way the plane is going, but it's like that way you can see, okay, the plane's going that way. Very helpful. Switch back here. I don't want to do that mistake like I did last video where it's like, oh, I'm going to spend all this time in the nav map while I'm flying. That was silly. Let's check our airport list here and see if, yep, Newport Muni is right there. I'm going to check the weather. Okay. Let's see. 2990. Okay. Let's tune the traffic here. We're going to select a weather runway for landing. That said, I should probably do this right. Okay. Let's see. What was the weather? It said which way the wind was going. Why is it not printed? 233 at 5 knots. 233. Let's see. See, it's coming out of the southwest. I'm reading that right, which means that I should be able to do. Okay, let's see. That would be. If I look at the map here, pull it up. 233. So it's coming out of this direction. So theoretically, I should come onto runway 20, which is going right into the wind. Unless I want to do like a little bit of a crosswind landing. Let's do runway 20. Announce full stop landing, and announce position.
Kilo Oscar November Papa traffic Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha 13 miles east,
Forgot to switch back.
3,300 feet inbound to land runway 20.
That was close. Okay. So I'm hoping that we land here before it gets dark. We're 13 miles out of the airport. Now, I'm not having a lot of luck, if you've noticed, at stabilizing my altitude, and I'm wondering if that's because we're going over these mountains. I'm not using autopilot, and it's like I'm just thinking that with the updrafts, excuse me, with the wind coming out, with the wind coming over the rain, the mountains and stuff, that could be causing it. Because the whole part of this whole point of this, the new flight simulator, is that it's supposed to model how the wind is actually changing when it is deformed by these land masses. So that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Okay, so we have passed time of descent. So I think what I'm going to start doing here is I'm going to switch into here. Let's wait until we get past like a little bit here, and let's start pulling. Even actually, let's start pulling down throttle now, but not a lot here. I don't want to just pull it straight out to 0. Is my throttle changing? Doesn't seem like it. I guess it is. I wonder if I had focus in the window or not. Now I actually hear it changing. Okay. So when I start evening out here, so I can actually try and get on the flight onto the GPS track. So let's see here. I'm just looking here at this here and trying to match it up with what I'm seeing on little nav map. And it looks like essentially the town of Newport is right there-ish. This being some river that runs, well, I guess technically Newport is on that side of the river, and South Beach is on that side of the river, but Newport Muni is on that side, this side of the river. So. And we're just fighting the wind. Okay. Yeah, we are definitely getting there. I'm just looking at the map here. It's like we're coming in fast. So I need to start getting lower faster. Okay, we are pulling the throttle out to 0. Because we need to get down. Let's see if we can see the runway, the airport yet on the G1000. I'm not sure yet, honestly. I'm not sure if it's that little gray right here or not. So my speed, so right now I have my throttle basically at 0. I'm keeping my pitch relatively close to the horizon. So I'm essentially kind of just like slowly falling down and my speed is slowing down. So I need to pick up speed, so I need to push my nose down. And so that will help me pick up some speed. Like actual speed. It's also picking up vertical speed. Okay, let's see. Where is the airport? Just announce my position again here.
Kilo Oscar November Papa
Yeah,
traffic,
only 7
Cessna
miles
Alpha
out.
Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Alpha 7
And
miles,
normally
east 2,400
that's about
feet inbound to land
when I'm really
runway
like
20.
watching when I'm going to be descending here. Okay, I think the runway's right. This indicating with my mouse pointer. I think it's right, that little gray line right there. Because there's 2 runways, one running roughly north-south, and one running slightly off north-south. Yeah, we need to get lower. So we're gonna we need to cross basically the river, and then we need to cross the river again when we actually come in for a landing. Okay, we've got this. We've got this. It's not gonna look good if I crash. My speed's slowing down again. My airspeed's slowing down. We are in the clouds, and so we just have to rely on our instruments here that we're not going to crash. Okay, so we're almost to 1,000 feet above the ground. What I'm a little concerned about is it appears that this might be a little hilly still coming in, so I think I need to put a little bit, I need to increase a little bit of throttle here because I need to pick up some altitude. Because I don't want to basically fall right, do a controlled impact into the terrain. Where is that airport? Come on. It, like, literally should be right over here. A little bit that way. Let's try turning. We need to turn because we're... I'm gonna pull off the throttle again here. Down to 0. Where's my runway? Oh, over there. There's the runway! There it is! Increase throttle! It's like, we need more power, Scotty! Give her all she's got, Captain. Okay. There it is. There it is. Let's pull back, and then let's put out some. We need to let's pitch up because we need to. I want to slow down before we start flaps here, and flaps. But that's a little too slow. A little more. Come on, I need to go a little faster than this. Another degree of flaps. We're not going to call this my best landing. Am I going to come out of these clouds anytime soon? It said to about 1,000 feet. Remember correctly? Oh my goodness. I want to see the runway. And essentially with extending the flaps, it helps us fly at slower speeds. I'm trying to decide if I have enough altitude to make it over to the runway. I think we need to, let's fully extend the flaps now. So that should be fully extended flaps. This is going to be close. I think we need a little throttle. So I see trees. Where is the runway? I saw a light. Okay. There is the runway! I see it! It does exist. I don't want to take out any of these trees on the way down though. We're gonna make it? Or are we just gonna like, we're about to like, we're gonna hit right on the threshold. Or not on the threshold, we're gonna hit right on the numbers. Oh, wowza. My camera view did not reset. That was... What is going on? Well, that's not good. Oh, there we go. We kind of just fell onto the runway. But we are here, for some definition of here. So let's see if we can get off this runway. Would someone please explain where my taxiway is? Because that looks like the end. Oh, okay. Well, that's the taxiway. I'm not sure if I should be going this way, honestly, but we are just going to charge ahead. So it looks like the taxiway just kind of runs into the runway. Interesting choice. So then I'll wait till I'm past the hold short line. And now it's clear runway. Let's not hit the plane. And set the parking brake. And I'm just going to turn off the lights. I guess I should pull up my checklist. Let's do this right. Parking. Parking brake is set. Avionics switch bus 1 and bus 2. Flip those switches, that's off. Engine is idle at 600 to 650 RPMs, it's at 636. Magneto's cutoff test. Well, I'm not really sure what they're wanting me to do here. Let me switch in here. So the problem is if I say, what? Oh, you want me to turn that off? Okay, off. But that's just going to turn off the engines. I'm just going to pull this out to 0, like that. And now I'm going to flip this off. And securing, ignition's off, landing light, all these lights are already off. For to turn a master switch, I need to flip these off. And then standby battery, where is that one? Off, off, come on, off. Okay, where? You just gotta assume it's going off. Fuel selector, left or right. There we go. So that should be everything. I flipped you guys off, I thought. I don't know whether they're still on. Okay, that was on. I must have had the switches flipped wrong. Okay, so there you have it, a short little flight from KCVO, Corvallis, Oregon, over to KONP, Newport, Oregon, taking us about 18 minutes. I will see you all next time.